All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Blind View here on Becca's World. And we are live on Rumble. And here is your host, Rebecca S. Meadows.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm so pleased to have you join us. I'm just going to mention my topic real quick, and then the other people will introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about my topic. I want to talk about the fact that President Joe Biden, is giving weapons to Ukraine for them to use against Russia, because I just feel like this is promoting World War III. And so go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys, and we can get started talking.
Well, this is Brandon, but I would like to defer to Anya first. I mean, the expression is ladies first, right? So I would like to exercise that.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm Anya, and like I said in a previous show that I had a pleasure of participating in, that I like politics. I like discussing things. I like having conversations with smart people and exchange viewpoints. I like animals. I like cooking, reading. So all different things I like to do. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Anya. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, then I'm as I said, Brandon. I live out here in the desert Southwest, and my interests are pretty vast. So I don't know that we necessarily need to talk about a lot of those. I'm really eager to get the perspective of everybody that's a part of this show today, because I really do feel like what you mentioned, Becca, is a serious escalation that certainly does deserve discussing.
Yeah, and I find it really strange that he did it right now, just before he's about to leave office. You know,
Yeah.
it. It's like he's trying to ignite World War III and then hand the reins over to Trump and leave the mess in Trump's lap. I really resent it. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna shut my door.
Well, while you're doing that, Becca, I'll just say I am in complete agreement with you. As I said, I do view it as a very serious and concerning escalation, and in fact, I believe that a high-ranking official, I don't remember the name right off the top of my head. I don't remember if it was the Kremlin or if it was someone else. Did I believe state today that we are now. Well, see, there were two statements that I read. One of them said we are now closer to World War III than at any other previous point in history. And then I think I did read somewhere else that Russia, as of today, did say that we are now officially at war with NATO. I mean, that was a very chilling headline for me to read.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's terrifying, and like I said, I really resent Biden putting us in this position just before he leaves office. It really smells like a setup to me, and I don't like it.
Well, what I want to say is, I don't know if you guys know, maybe I forgot to mention that I'm actually from that part of the world. I am from
Yeah.
Ukraine, and I am Russian, so I know a lot about this conflict. I follow it closely since the beginning. Yeah, and I think it's a terrible mistake they're making, but I'm certain that this is an intentional mistake because
Yeah.
they hate Trump. The establishment hates Trump so much, and they want to leave the biggest mess possible for him to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Another Democrat were handed to Republicans to deal with. So it's very unfortunate because these people are just monsters. I mean, they don't care what casualties this can bring. It already has done so much damage. It's incalculable damage. So and now, just because they want to get Trump and make him look bad and do finger pointing later, so that's why they're willing to sacrifice anything. That's why they're doing it. Right on the way out. I find it highly disturbing too.
Actually, Anya, I think we should. You just used the word incalculable. I think we should. Well, and by we, I mean the Department of Government Efficiency should attempt to calculate some of the damage that has been done, especially over the past 4 years. I mean, what better department, right? Although you might be right, it may in fact be incalculable.
It probably is because everybody knows that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries, and yeah, I'm totally okay with saying it live, and I will repeat it anytime because I know. I mean, it's super corrupt. Not to say the United States is not corrupt, but we know how things work. Like right now, they don't even have a president. This guy finished his term, so he is not supposed to be there. But they didn't hold elections, and well, that's another story. My point is that, yeah, so it's so bad that the money that we were generously handing over, most of that money never made it to the front lines. Some of this money doesn't even leave the United States, and whatever it does make it there, of course, gets divided, gets pocketed in the pockets of the first the government, then the military high ups, and whatever the crumbs left over, they go to people. So, and we just
So
keep funding it.
are you saying, Anya, that so listen, I do want to thank you for your perspective. I really am enjoying hearing it. So, but
Sure.
are you saying that were I the kind of person, which I'm not, because I feel like Europe needs to step up and kick in more. But if I were the kind of person who believed Mr. Ruth, right, the attempted assassin of Donald John Trump, if I believed him, see, because I saw a video where he himself went over to Ukraine,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
which which is crazy, and he was just like, oh, I mean, I'm paraphrasing now, but basically, we need to help. Americans need to help. And Americans need to follow my example. But are you saying that if I were the kind of person who would have donated money in an attempt to help the Ukrainian people who now this is I'm going to make a statement, but then I want to ask you a question.
yeah.
Who I do believe are in need of assistance, because I'm not totally supportive. I'm not supportive of what Russia did to Ukraine most recently. I do believe that was an invasion, and so yes, I can understand that. I do think there are Ukrainian people that need help. But my question for you is this: so you just stated that you feel like Ukraine is a very corrupt nation. Now let me ask you this: if you know more of the historical perspective of Russia, which I'm not an expert on, but I mean, for me, I'll just speak for me, and then I want to get your feedback. It does seem to me like Russia really feels like it's had to make some tough decisions. For example, right, like Russia tried to be granted admittance to the United Nations, and they said no.
Yeah, they did
We're
say
not.
that.
We're not admitting. So I mean, Russia. Think back to the Tucker Carlson interview with Vladimir Putin, right? I mean, what do you think about the wider historical perspective of Russia?
Well, what I think of historical perspective of Russia. Well, in regards to Ukraine, right? Is that what you're asking? Like how?
Well, in terms of Ukraine, but as Ukraine fits into the wider dynamic, what do you think? I mean, I do believe that what Russia most recently did was an invasion, but I mean, if you think back to like the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s, like how do you feel about Russia as a whole?
Well, Russia, with its own problems, but I think it's the last country that could save the Western civilization. For one thing, I don't want to get too much off topic, but for one thing, they totally reject this alphabet ideology, LGBTQ, whatever, child free propaganda, and a bunch of other things. So they try to stick to some conservative views. But as for Ukraine, Brandon and everyone else, Ukraine is fairly new country. So most of its territories used to belong to various countries. Most of it was belonged to Russia. Okay, so where I'm from, that part was historically Russian. And when Lenin came, when the revolution happened in 1917 and such, so Lenin decided to gift that region to Ukraine. Just like Nikita Khrushchev gave Crimea to Ukraine at some point. So Ukraine is being taught that they are an independent nation. They have this 24/7 run on TVs. I know, like, we are strong, we're gonna win, blah blah blah, which is good. I mean, that they need to keep up the spirits of the people. But to say that it was invasion, think of those coverages, like media coverage back in those days, unprovoked, baseless, unprovoked. The word unprovoked, I probably heard, several times within 1 hour. So if our mainstream media says that, it's going to be the opposite. And the reason I say that is because I think it was totally provoked. Because Putin has repeatedly warned the West and Ukraine that do not enter NATO. We do not need NATO in our backyard. And what America did, along with other Western countries, they did exactly the opposite. So they were encouraging Ukraine, and Putin has warned, like, we are going to invade if you guys go into NATO.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Ukraine and Russia share the largest border, and you know how NATO was formed, why it was formed, right? So it was to be like a counter force against the Soviet Union. So Soviet Union no longer exists for 30 plus years. So why the hell do we need NATO still? So I mean, there's a lot of I've been a part of a lot of different discussion, but this basic view, I don't want to hang on this too much unless you have more specific, but I'm just telling you what I know briefly. And
Well,
how people
I'll
are provoked.
well, this is Brandon. So I'll get back to Becca's point. As of today, So, but wow, what a unique perspective you have, because your perspective, and perhaps others as well, is diametrically opposed to, yes, the media that we do here. And I try to get my information, by the way, from both the far right, the far left, and center media sources. And so, but it doesn't really matter. Most media sources here in the West, in North America, do, yes, use words like unprovoked and invasion. So how do you feel then about this decision? I mean, again, so I'm no friend to Russia, right? I'm not pro Russia. I'm also not anti Russia. I just try to view things as they are. So again, see, this is what I'm saying. Joe Biden today authorized the use of long range missiles manufactured in the West to be used by Ukraine to attack Russia, right? So here again, we see Russia. It's like, what are you going to do? Just stand there and let them hit you, Russia? I mean, Russia has no, I mean, I think we're very, very lucky, that Vladimir Putin and his administration has been as measured as they are, because as I understand it, Russia is armed with nuclear weapons.
You know what I do? If I were Trump, I would call Zelensky and I would say, hey, even though you have the permission, don't you dare to use that because I'm coming and you're not going to be happy. Because he's incoming president, and I think knowing that Zelensky probably would listen to him more than to the Biden's administration at this point
Mhm.
because they're outgoing administration. What do you think?
I
Well,
agree with you.
but I think that still leaves the discussion about NATO, though, because Vladimir Putin said we are now in a state of war with NATO. So
Yeah,
there would
that's
still need to be that little knot to try to untangle.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they want to throw all this mess for Trump to clean. They know that Trump really does not want this war, and it could every war always ends with some kind of negotiation, some
I
kind of
think most Americans don't want this war either.
yeah. We were in debt.
I certainly don't. This is Brandon. I certainly don't. Now, I do fully agree and condone and support defending our homeland, but I think I wish that Europe would step up more. We as the United States of America have contributed the most amount of money, and certainly more than our fair share of resources as well. I want to get out of there. I want to get out of there, and I want to get back to defending and protecting and developing our homeland as the USA.
Yeah.
Well, with those
Make America great again.
yeah. Well, those evil globalists, they want to break Russia up into parts, because it's easier to control. Russia has tons of resources. So I think this is the core of the conflict. That's all this Ukraine and democracy. Oh, democracy, my butt. There's there's no democracy to speak of. There's not a single opposition channel in Ukraine. I mean, I can talk for hours how it is not a democratic country.
Mhm.
And all this sham, it's
You
just a cover.
you're saying there's wait a minute. You're saying, let me be clear. and please be clear yourself, there's not a single opposition channel.
No,
Wow.
it's the
So
landscape.
so
That's
so so so
crazy.
in many ways, would you say that the media in Ukraine right now is very, very similar to China?
Yeah, it's state media now. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
you can have Gina fact check. I mean, although internet, basic Google search is probably gonna tell you the opposite because that's what they want you to think
Right.
to know.
But
But
again, I just appreciate that perspective. Like if I went over to Ukraine, let's say I was a pilot, right, and I was given international clearance to fly, and I just got clearance to fly over there to see firsthand for myself. You're saying no, 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 no. It's very, very, very culturally different than America. You would not see balanced perspective. You would not see competing news story. I wouldn't see that, huh?
no, you would not. Mm-mm.
You also wouldn't see
That's
all the argument and stuff
wow.
we've had here the last few years, but this is healthy what we've had going on here. Open debate.
Yeah, well, they pick a Russia because Russia is pretty suppressing of the opposite viewpoints inside Russia. Everybody knows that too. But at least Russia is not screaming, "We're democracy, we're democracy. We need to be, we need to protect our democracy." BS, And what's most ironic to me, like, who I don't know what people have in their heads, what kind of thoughts they have if they cannot put two these totally opposing um, ideas. Like, how can you have your border entirely open, like for anybody under the sun to come, and we are defending some elusive borders, some elusive democracy on the other side of the ocean? I mean, how does it to make it make sense? Somebody.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, can you make it make sense, Becca? What's your perspective? What do
Well,
you think about Biden authorizing this use of long range missiles?
I'll tell you what I think. I think Biden and his ilk for decades have been drawing us into these wars overseas to steal our treasure and the blood of our men, our young men and women. You know what I mean? Like that's why our country's in such debt financially. You know what I mean? It's because of all these
So
wars that they
so
draw
you
us into. And
so
and
you
I
think
feel
that's
I
been their design?
Oh, yes. And see, Trump pulled us out of all those wars, remember? And what has Biden done? Since he's taken office, there's so many conflicts. First, I remember Libya, back when Trump or when Biden first took office. Remember, we went to war in Libya and Sudan. And like, there were several different countries that all of a sudden were breaking out in war when Biden took office. And we had to take care of all of them. And then Ukraine and Gaza with Israel and all of this stuff,
Afghanistan.
right?
Yeah.
And it's all happened when Biden took office. But when Trump was in office, Trump brought peace to the whole world. It's the deep state and their agenda to steal our treasure and, like I said, the blood of our young men and women. They're like destroying our country. It's been by design from the very beginning of our country, I believe.
And so you're saying that it's your perspective that it's not, things aren't just happening organically. You're saying you feel like there is a design behind it.
Oh,
This is on
yes.
purpose.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. But it hasn't just been with Biden, though. It's been for decades, but it's so acutely worse with Biden's administration. Like that's why it's in everybody's face. That's why Trump won in such a resounding landslide because everybody could see it. You know what I mean? The corruption of the Biden administration. But it's been going on for decades.
I do, but it looks like we're about to come up against a commercial break here. I think I hear that in my ear, so maybe we can pick
Okay.
this up on the other side.
Yeah, well, okay, it's time to take a commercial break. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Hi, it's me, Rebecca S. Meadows, the author, with my new book, Living on Borrowed Time, The Ravings of an Angry Survivor of Traumatic Brain Injury and Guardianship Abuse. It's available on Kindle Digital Download, Amazon Print on Demand, and on Audible. Please go check it out. And now, back to the show.
All right, and we are back. That worked out well. And do you guys want to continue on, finish up this
Um,
topic?
do you guys have anything else you want to say about this, or do you guys want to move on?
Well, I mean, I'm open to either one. I mean, I appreciate hearing all of the perspectives, but I mean, so it's, let's do majority vote.
Well, if you guys, if you don't mind, I just add one more quick point. Is for you,
Okay.
and Brandon, you brought it up. This guy, oh, I forgot his name, Ruth, right? The one who was trying to assassinate
The
Trump.
one who, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, his name was Ruth.
yeah, who has connections with Ukraine. There's so many fishy things about this character, and his obsession with Ukraine is not healthy at all. So, but what really gets me is that I think he was not a lonely character, like acting alone person, because think about it, like he had some roofing business which was not going very well. How does he get all this money to travel? So, to make it quick, I just want to say I think Deep State is behind him. I think he was just a puppet to complete the task because they don't want the war to end. And Trump is the one
Mhm.
who's going to end this war. So they use this guy and his obsession.
Oh, I agree with you. I didn't delve into all that, but no, I agree with you. Yeah, I definitely think he had, you know, support from shady individuals and organizations as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much more fishy about it. I don't want to, talk too much about him because we have to move
Okay.
to a different topic, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. So what do you can go ahead with your topics now?
So I think we should start with Brandon because I think this may lead into Anya's topic. Because Brandon, you wanted to talk about AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a casual user of AI, which, as most likely you know, that stands for artificial intelligence. And, that really started popping off, to use a modern vernacular word, that really started getting popular in 2023. And in fact, it's so funny to me. Because I really think that it might be a historic kind of remembering. Like I was at some friend's house, and this was in April of 2023, and we were debating and bantering about Chat GPT versus what then was Google Bard. Now, just to give you all a quick update, if you don't know, it's no longer called Bard. It's now called Google Gemini. They've updated it, and they are continuing to update it. And please do not believe that Chat GPT is the biggest and best. I do believe they're one of the biggest and best, but I think it's a little bit short sighted to discount other competitors such as Llama and Google Gemini. For example, have you all heard about? And I'm not really promoting these. I don't even have a pair of these, right? So I don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak. But have you all heard about the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses?
I have.
Yes.
I would like to see them. I wish there was some kind of demo you can go and experiment. I wanted
I've
to
heard
get
of,
some in the summertime, but kind of, put this in the back burner.
yeah.
Well,
Do
see,
you have
they
one,
they
Brandon?
compete.
Oh,
They
you
they compete against the Envision glasses. Do you all know about the Envision glasses?
no.
Yeah, yeah, I heard. I don't know much. You can tell us more about them if you have that knowledge.
So Brandon,
Well,
what is the like?
huh?
Are we talking about smart glasses in general, or all the different brands? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm talking
Because
about them in general.
I know nothing about them even in general. I've never even looked at a pair. I've only heard of about them. Have you looked at a pair of smart glasses? Or
So I don't have any right now, except I will say that a long, long, long time ago now in the tech world, like we're talking 2018, 2019, I did try out Ira, and I had the whole thing. I had their glasses and everything. And for me at the time, that was not a pleasant experience at all. And so Ira, just for anybody who doesn't know, it's spelled AIRA, and that is, I would say, a helpful service for people who are blind, although I, from the beginning, have been much more favorable about a different service called Be My Eyes.
Oh
But both
yeah.
Ira and Be My Eyes can connect blind people with sighted people who can help us. Like, for example, I used Be My Eyes just the other day, but you could use Ira to help me with my thermostat because I don't have an accessible one at the moment. I used to, but I don't at the moment. And so I used to have a pair of Ira smart glasses, but I sent them back because I didn't like the whole UX, the whole user experience, right? I didn't like it. It was buggy, it was slow, it was not reliable.
I had the same
Now that
experience.
Yeah, but that has since changed. Although now I don't like their payment structure. So, but anyway, Ira I don't even think offers their glasses anymore, but Envision does, and Meta does. They have some Ray-Ban smart glasses. Now, the one thing I will tell you all is that I, as a blind person, this is the dilemma, right? Like the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses are a lot more affordable. I think they're around $400. However, you think, gosh, that's a pretty expensive pair of glasses. Yeah, well, the Envision glasses, although I do think they have more robust features for blind people like myself, they do cost a lot more too, like over $1,000. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you were trying to find a particular flavor of Pop Tarts, right? Because you knew you bought 2 or 3 different flavors. Well, the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses may or may not tell you specifically. You could tell it, what am I looking at? And it might just say, you're looking at a box of Pop Tarts. Whereas the Envision glasses might say, right now you're looking at a box of blueberry Pop Tarts. And then you would hold up another one and it might say, you're looking at a box of strawberry Pop Tarts.
So
Right. You see what
Envision
it would,
gives you more information. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and that's because Envision is specifically designed and built for blind people.
Yeah, that's good information to have. Did you notice any other comparisons between glasses?
So I know about the Envision ones, as they sort of compare to the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. But I'll just tell you, if you want something fun, if you want a fun use of artificial intelligence, let me give you the link for Google Gemini. Let me just say it out loud. You can just get to it by going to gemini.google.com/app. So gemini.google.com/app. Um, that's the way that I actually use it. Um, and so again, I have nothing against Chat GPT, but if you want on your mobile devices, especially, um, there is Chat GPT, and there's also I use one on my phone called Pi.ai, and I like that one a lot. Pi is very conversational. It tries to be a conversational use of AI. And what I was going to say is one cool thing that you all could try,
Oh,
whether you're
Brian.
sighted or blind, just to get an idea, is ask these AI services, describe the Pizza Hut logo for me, or describe the Nabisco logo for me, just to see what they say.
Huh. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I also used ChatGPT quite a bit, but I don't have the point 4 version, the not free one. I have free version, and I see
Uh-huh.
there are some limitations. Like you can use it so much. When I ask certain questions, or have it do something, have it do some research with it, and all of a sudden, like I get kicked out. It says your data has been used. I can't remember the phrasing, but the idea is I cannot use it for a few hours. So is that same thing with the Pi or no?
No, so Pi won't do that, and Gemini won't do that. But again, I think that's where you do see. And now let me mention this. In defense of ChatGPT, for example, I don't know if you all know, but on the computer, you can now use Be My Eyes as well. The only reason I bring that up is because a lot of services now, um, including the Envision glasses, are okay. So, for example, Envision has their new digital assistant called Ally. right? However, Ally on the back end, so kind of behind the scenes, is actual. I forget if it's using Chat GPT or if it's using Llama, which Llama is a Meta developed AI. But a lot of these companies are not developing their own artificial intelligence projects. They're just using big well established models like Chat GPT or Llama.
Oh, okay.
So, but Chat GPT, I kind of think, kind of as the leader. Yeah, you can pay them money, and I don't even know that it would be a bad idea to pay them money. I mean, if you've got the budget for it, even if it's just like for a month or two, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I would sign up for like a year or anything, but if you can do it on a monthly basis, because
Yeah,
I'll
just
tell
a
you
few
one thing
bucks a
that
month.
I am the most excited about whoever man, whoever does this first, I might pay them money for a month or two. And so, as a blind person, what I want is an AI that can describe my surroundings using a video feed, so that I could, for example, tell the AI, "Hey, keep an eye out for Popeyes and let me know when I'm getting close." And then I could just walk down the
Oh
street.
yeah.
You know what I mean. And then it could tell me, "Oh, you're getting close to Popeyes. It's about 80 feet ahead of you on your left." That would be so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be awesome. What I wanted to add too about those smart glasses. So I saw on Facebook and on YouTube even a little bit of demoing, like people were talking and doing some reviews on it, and they were saying like, oh, like you can, if you want to know who's next to you, like who's across the table from you, you can ask. It's gonna tell. And I always wonder, what is it gonna sound like? I mean, if you're gonna be within the earshot of that person, you can say, "Hey, who is across from me?" or "What is that person wearing?" Or I mean, it's I don't know. I guess it's just weird. But I wish there was a way you can type maybe that message in, or you speak into some kind of microphone that is not audible to the people around you, and that way you can ask more questions that you would not ask otherwise. You see what I mean?
I do, and I can tell you that with the glasses, most all of them have like an earpiece that goes in your ear, so nobody will hear the responses. And they also do have a microphone built into them. But yeah, I do see what you're saying. That it could be a little bit awkward. Um, and again, again, see there again, that would be where like a video feature would be really handy, because you could tell it like, "Hey, when he comes back, tell me what the guy across from me looks like." You know what I mean? Because then you're asking the AI, "Hey, you're not going to see it right now, but when they come back, and if you knew that the AI could watch for say 30 minutes or something, I mean, it's probably not going to take a guy or a girl for 30 minutes to get back in the bathroom, right?" So, but
Yeah.
you could tell it, "Hey, when they get back, tell me what the person across from me looks." You know what I mean? Like if they went to the bathroom or they went to re up their drink or whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
again, I think that's where the video feature could be really helpful.
Well, I'm sure it will come someday. And I also I don't know how to implement it. I have no idea. But what would be really helpful in terms of AI and all these assistive devices like glasses, like if you come to a room and you need to find somebody, like you don't know how to. I cannot say like, okay, find my friend Helen. How the hell is gonna know who my friend Helen is in a crowded room? Well, whatever. I don't know how this could be done, but sighted people just look around and they look at different faces and spot who they want to talk to and they go right. But it
That's
seems
true. Now, some of them in the past, and this has been a very sensitive and controversial topic. Some projects in the past have let you train them. So, like, if your friends were okay, like, "Hey, I want my friend, I want this app to know that this is you. This is Sherry, or this is Jared, or this is Ashley, or this is Ben, or you know what I mean."
mhm.
And if they're like, "Okay, that's cool," some of them will let you do that. Other companies have taken the perspective, "No, no, that's kind of an invasion of privacy. We don't want to get down to identifying a specific individual." Although I see your point, and I like the idea. As somebody with a fair amount of friends, I'd be okay. Yeah, go ahead, take my picture. I don't care. Save it for later. I'm going to be famous one day.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, let's say like you're in a bar with a group of friends, and then you went to the bathroom, and it helps you find the bathroom, and you come back, and then how do you tell it? Find the table where I was sitting at, or find my friends, or you know, it, I don't know how this could be done, but it would be so cool.
I do think it's exciting. I do think it's exciting. Just for like I use it to help me identify logos. I use it to I like to really get personal with mine in the sense of I like it when they're a little bit snarky and a little bit sarcastic with me. I really tell them, look, this is how I want you to communicate with me. I want you to incorporate humor. I want you to incorporate levity, but I also want you to be very verbose, very loquacious, very descriptive, very detailed. Don't hold back. So I enjoy playing with these different services. But I really do acknowledge that I think in the next 5 to 10 years, oh man, I think it's going to radically disrupt the landscape of AI in general. But I think I don't know. I'm of the mind that you know you roll with the wheel or it runs you over and leaves you in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, I do acknowledge, I do have some reservations about the prominence and proliferation, if I can talk, of AI, but I also do think that it has a lot of potential for blind people though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Did you guys have you used that feature, a relatively new feature, maybe like a year old? Well, for technologies, a year is too long. But anyway, that built-in Be My AI feature for the pictures.
I have never used it. Have you used it?
I
I
have.
have.
It's
Yeah,
pretty.
I have too.
It
Do
is.
you
But
like it, Anya? What did you think?
I like at first I was playing all day long, like I was going around my house and taking pictures and going in the yard and having fun with it. And we would drive. My husband and I would drive like down the street, and I would stick the phone out of the window, take a picture, and then it reads me signs, and it was all fun. I find it really helpful, but it's still not the same as being able to see. The example that I like to use is, if somebody likes a song and they describe to you a song, how beautiful the music is and the singer and the words, and yeah, it can create some kind of imagination in your head with some kind of idea what it might be like, but you still not going to have the full flavor of it until you hear it for yourself. Same thing with this. No matter how descriptive the picture is, I get some idea, but still not entirely, But there's nothing to say
Well,
about it.
but I think that's better than what we had before, though. And it lets us get at least some knowledge independently.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It
Because
is.
I mean, for example, somebody could say, "Oh, she's ugly," or "Oh, he's ugly." Well, okay, but that's a very subjective term, right? Like I just want to know, what do they look like? However, some people do say, for example, some of the AIs will say, "Oh, it looks like a very warm, inviting room." Right. And some people don't like that. They literally just want to know, what color are the walls? What color is the floor? Like, just give me just the facts. I'm okay if AI does a little more than that, but I wouldn't want it to make subjective calls like what we do as humans. Like, I don't think that looks very good. Well, okay, AI, look,
Well,
I don't, what are you basing that on?
I would
Yeah.
like it if AI could like give me his or her opinion on what a guy looks like, since I don't trust my own opinion. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Well, and I think it could. I think it could, but if you said, hey, does he look hot? I don't think it would answer you.
Oh, I'm not gonna share what kind of questions I asked before, but it's.
Well, did
Ah,
did it answer you, or did it say, I'm sorry, I can't provide those kind of answers?
exactly.
Speaking
That's
of
what I was just
technology,
about to
do you
say.
know how to turn a computer on?
What's that?
I said, speaking of technology, do you know how to turn a computer on?
Do I know how to turn a computer on?
Talk dirty to it. It's a
Oh,
joke. I'm
oh,
sorry. My
Ah!
dad used to say that all the time.
I get it
So
now. It's like, yeah, Becca, yeah, I know how to turn on the computer. What are you
my
talking
my,
about?
my dad dropped out in 8th grade, right? So he doesn't even have a high school education, but that was a joke he always had. Because
Oh
he
man.
himself probably can't even turn a computer on, but he's a good jokester. So
Yeah.
Well, with that, it looks like we're up against another commercial break, guys.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, please stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
All right, yeah, we have a very special commercial today. This is the trailer for the project that Rebecca and I did called Don't Look Now, set in the blind community. So stay tuned. We hope you enjoy it.
Why don't they have blind people sections at sporting events? Why do I gotta pay the same price to not see shit? Okay? The Jumbotron ain't even built for me.
I am the business manager here at the Visually Impaired School of Arizona.
I see you brought the film crew. Make sure you get my good side.
All right, settle down and get focused on your tasks.
I teach the art of cuisine, child.
You wanna know what the problem, the biggest problem in the blind community? It's you sighted people.
Just take a look over here.
Yeah, I don't know where that is, man.
Okay, you all need to turn off those cameras and just leave the building.
Wait, Joe, hold on.
Oh, on your right.
You're on the right.
How would you know that the men you're dating are black?
No, this is not card member services. This is the Visually Impaired School of Arizona.
Gigi, where are his pants?
I don't know.
Billy doesn't f***ing work here. He basically came with the building.
I can be the very first mayor of Blind Sylvania.
Make blind America great again.
There goes my pie.
This happens every day?
No, of
Sometimes.
course not.
Ladies and
All
gentlemen,
right, we are back. Gosh, I really love that show, Becca. We had a blast, and hopefully we're going to get that thing picked up and do a whole season.
oh
And,
yeah, yeah, and we're that's one thing we're working on for sure. But we have other exciting projects coming up too in after the new year that we're going to be doing. So I hope our viewers will stay tuned.
That was hilarious, you guys. Oh, I loved that commercial. That was hilarious.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so we were talking about AI, and I don't know if we were finished, but I think that segues into Anya's topic, which is all about self-driving cars, something I have a lot of experience with since they have Waymo out here in Arizona.
Yeah, wait,
They do.
Gino, during this conversation, maybe you could share with our viewers your experience taking Waymo, because I've never taken Waymo. I don't know if Brandon or Anya have.
Absolutely not. I would be glad to try. I mean, it still freaks me out the idea of being in a car with no
Well,
driver.
Gino's been in the car though, so he could tell us about it too.
Well,
And I have as well for over 200 miles, actually.
Oh, you
all right.
have,
Well,
Brandon.
let's let Anya jump in and
Absolutely.
talk first,
Absolutely.
and then we'll kind of jump in where needed.
Well, sadly, I don't have experience with them, like I said. But it's interesting because yesterday when I thought of this topic, and then first thing this morning I opened my Facebook, and then somebody reposted somebody else's post talking about how difficult it is for blind people to get around, and when you live in a rural area, and the bus service is not working well, and blah blah blah. Like, wow, this is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Yeah, it is a problem indeed. Luckily for me, I have a family member who drives, so I don't have this, but. It could be so handy, especially if you live in a big city. I mean, buses are cool, but wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be awesome just to have your own car that you can just get in and
yeah.
go? And I don't know what you guys think, but I think at some point in the near future, regular driving will become illegal. They'll outlaw it because they will find driverless cars safer. What do you
That's
think?
what they're saying.
I don't know.
They're already saying that it's safer, so.
They are, but what worries me, like, I mean, even in the airplane is a very complex machine, right? But they still have a person there sitting monitoring, making sure that everything is working, everything is okay. We have a pilot, a co-pilot. But with those cars, like, what if car freaks out? What if something unexpected happened and you have no control? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
That's why I'm hesitant to get in those self-driving cars, but Gino's done it. I told him he's crazy.
Well, you
Well,
guys,
and I commend Gino because I have too, but I'm okay being called crazy. So
no, you
Brandon,
can tell us what it's like.
Yeah, can you share your experiences, Brandon and Gino?
yeah, who want you? You want to go first, Gino? Or you want me to?
Actually, I think you should go first because I think the experience of someone who is low vision or visually impaired is probably very pertinent for everybody to hear first.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So right. So okay. So I am blind. That's true. Don't worry. It's not a dirty word. It's not a bad word. I am blind. In other words, I have no usable vision. I can't read print. I have no usable vision. Right. So I am blind now. Yes, I have used Waymo often. However, I did have to work with Waymo earlier this year to make their app more accessible on the Android side because I'm going to call you out, Waymo. Okay, and you know we already moved past this. You already fixed it. But in the beginning, remember, Waymo, I could get the car to my house, but I couldn't even start the ride. That's not okay, Waymo. That's not okay, Waymo. Okay, that is absolutely. I mean, because even something as seemingly simple as that fundamentally altered my perspective. I mean, what good does it do you to get in the car and be stuck in your own driveway, right?
Yeah.
Because the problem was on Android they didn't have it where what you do is you slide to start the ride, you slide to start driving, and that little part of the process was what was not accessible. Now, I referenced the web content accessibility guidelines and I conversed and dialogued with Waymo personnel. And I said, listen, I think if you do this and you do that, it's not that it's not doable on Android. I just think there were some things you weren't aware of. It's understandable. It's okay. I'm willing to work with you. Will you please consider doing this in the next app update? And sure enough, they did. And so, and they've made even additional improvements on top of that. Although, the one thing that I'll say about Waymo is that using the app, most things about the ride are accessible except for the temperature control. So, but I like it now that we can accessibly pick the music. We can set our destinations and things. We can start the. I mean, so I have a very, very good experience, and it does seem to me that Waymo does prioritize safety actually rather than speed.
Can you make a stop on the ride too through the app, or do you have to just go directly to your destination?
You can make a stop, but it can't exceed 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I found out the hard way. What happens is another car will be assigned to you to get you back to point A or to continue your trip. But it was funny because I had a big bottle of tea and I accidentally exceeded the 5 minutes because I didn't know at the time. And then the car took off and left. And so I had to talk with Waymail support and tell them, hey, that bottle of tea is my bottle of tea. I'm sorry. I'm still getting familiar with the service.
Wow, that's hilarious. What
Wow.
an interesting story.
I have a question for you. So when you arrive to your destination, I don't know how good your mobility skills are and stuff. What I do when I take Ubers and stuff, I usually ask the driver, okay, so we are here. How do I find the door of the building, or like whatever I'm going to? Tell me which side we are on. So, and sometimes I'm okay, pretty much all the time. I'm okay with the driver actually either giving me very good directions or walking me towards the door. So, how do you know where you parked? Because
Where
the
the door
streets can be.
is, yeah.
Yeah, how do you do that?
No, so you really don't. You really don't. You're going to need to have high quality blindness skills. You are going to need to have, at least adequate, if not more than adequate, orientation and mobility skills, cane training skills, active listening skill. No, because you can't do that. And I will say I've had the experience where Waymo doesn't always drop you off right in front of the door because they can't. Apparently, businesses can say like, well, we don't want those robo taxis pulling in our parking lot, and Waymo does honor that. If a business does formally write in and say we don't want your cars pulling in and out of here, so you may have to walk, 50, 80, 100 feet or so. So that is true.
Yeah, so see that kind of
Yeah. All this
challenges. Yeah, go ahead,
this
Becca.
information makes me less likely to ever try Waymo. I'll tell you that.
Well, let me
I
jump
like
in
Lyft.
and I'm gonna I'll present some pros and cons because I've been taking Waymo, as Becca knows, for a long time. I actually really enjoy taking it. Way back, you couldn't actually take it direct into the airport. You had to take it to the tram. So you would then have to get on a tram, to get to the airport. So they They originally did not allow that. Now it'll take you into the terminals and take you out of them, but it's not without its problems. I will say, Anya, that one of your questions is how do you know where it is? Well, there is, and I don't know, Brandon, maybe you can tell me if this is something you've done. On the app, you can tell it to honk its horn. And I don't know if that's an accessible feature.
Yes, I have done that. I have definitely done that.
Okay. So as a sighted person, I don't have that issue as much because the top of the car has a display and it'll say your name. It'll rotate. It's all lit up. Your initials, I believe it is. But I have noticed. So on the pro side, as Brandon mentioned, the cars are unbelievably safe. They promote, hundreds of thousands of driver hours because it is using, I believe, satellite and artificial intelligence. I think it's using some AI technology as well. But it's curated so much data from so many rides, of all of the cars combined, right? It does not ever speed. It does not go on the highway. It actually will take side streets everywhere. So you do have to, give yourself a little bit more time when you're going to take them. They are cheaper. One of the things that I find is one of the biggest benefits for me personally, having a family, is I don't want some random driver knowing that I'm going out of town and my wife and my kids are home alone, right? That is something I have never liked about Lyft and Uber, is you don't know who these people are, and they know they're taking you to an airport, and they're just asking you basic questions. Oh, where are you going? Da, da, da. Cool, I'm going to come and rob your house, right? So that's just one, oh, cool, you're gone for 2 weeks? Oh, outstanding, right?
See, that's
But
a
that
valid
has been a
concern.
concern of yours. Okay.
Well, it has.
It's
I
been a
don't have a
concern
lot
of mine
faith
too.
in humanity.
Yeah,
I never thought of it actually.
Yes.
I agree with Gino, and I try not to tell them how long I'm going to be gone and stuff
But they know you're going to the airport.
Going to the airport. Yeah.
If you're going to the airport, you're gone at least a day, right? So, so that was one reason. But some of the cons. Anya, by the way, Waymo is currently available in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin, and Atlanta. So it is coming to major cities. I believe that, and I could be wrong about this, I believe the reason it is in these particular cities is probably the weather. I would imagine snow and ice is going to be very difficult for Waymo to handle because of the camera technology. How does it how will it handle that and address that if you're in the middle of a blizzard and it can't see anything and it can't detect enough with the collision system? Again, I'm just speculating. I haven't done enough research to know if that's why it started out here. Phoenix was the original city that they did the pilot program of it, which made sense. We have,
but it's not Phoenix, isn't it? Tempe?
No, it is Phoenix. It doesn't go everywhere in Phoenix.
Yeah,
right?
it's not here in Mesa.
Correct. So there's certain cities that it still does not go to yet, but that is expanding all the time. I think it's just a matter of them properly mapping out everything because they do have beta drivers. They have people that you can get on these programs, depending on where you live, where you take the vehicle to and from work in 2 different places because it's helping it map out, the routes. But I'll say on the con side, something I've noticed that never used to happen, and now it's happening all the time. When I order a Waymo, it no longer comes to my house. It actually will park in a spot in my neighborhood that I actually find fairly dangerous because it's too close to the entrance from a main road. So I'm like, okay, well, if somebody is pulling in too fast and I'm getting out of the Waymo trying to get my luggage out of the trunk, I'm going to get hit. So I'm not entirely sure why or how that changed, but I need to look into it. So, as you guys have said, it doesn't go everywhere. It doesn't drop you off in the most convenient spots like a human would. I've had Waymo pull into a parking lot and circle around through the parking lot. Like for 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, you could have dropped me off right over there. and it doesn't, right? It's just kind of circling, trying to figure out where to drop you off. So there are some little bugs and oddities.
So actually, for clarification, isn't it that the Waymo will take you anywhere? But the thing is, there's only certain places where you can catch it from, right? And then
No,
it'll
it
drop
won't.
you off anywhere in the Phoenix area, won't it?
No, it will not. I can't take you
No,
to your
not
house
anywhere.
because it doesn't service Mesa right now. So I cannot take it
Yeah.
somewhere that it is not in its service area.
Well, you also
Right.
so you can only request it from certain areas, and you can only take it to certain areas. Yeah, it just seems dumb to me.
That's
I
correct.
don't. I won't be using it. Not well. It's like this. I'll tell you that.
Well,
Well,
it
let
is
me
like
let
any
me
technology; it's evolving.
well let me throw this out there too, because something I think it was you, Becca, or was it you, Anya? Something that I know. I am affiliated with the National Federation of the Blind, and something that I know is that at many of our national conventions, and sometimes even our affiliate conventions, a company called Cruise has been there. And I know that one fundamental difference between Cruise versus Waymo, they're both autonomous car companies, and Cruise, you know, shout out to you, Cruz. I really, really hope that you guys can get back on the road if you're not already, very, very much sooner than later. Because you guys have been getting a lot of negative press and a lot of negative PR lately, and I don't think it's truly, truly deserved. Because here, one of the fundamental differences is Cruz long term. So not today or even next week or anything, but I understand that Cruz long term has wanted to give blind people like myself the ability to own their cars like as like anybody else would own a car, whereas Waymo never ever wants to do that, because Waymo says it doesn't matter, guys, just request a car, we'll be there in 5 minutes. You don't need to own our cars, whereas Cruise has said no, we want to get our technology so good that people can buy our cars just like you buy any other car.
And that's what I want. I want to buy cars like that and drive. That's what I like too. What is Cruise though? I haven't heard of it. Is that a self-driving company?
Yeah, yeah, they're a competing autonomous car company with Waymo, but there was I don't know, but this might bring a recollection to you. Although again, I'm trying to present a very balanced perspective here. I'm aware that we're just about out of time, but there was an issue I think out in California where Cruise got in an accident involving a lady. But the thing is, it was one of those tricky situations that all drivers have to face, right? It's not like the Cruise vehicle intentionally harmed the lady. That is not at all what happened. The video is online. You can go find it. And the same thing with Waymo, because I will say there are people that will intentionally try to do things. For example, somebody might throw a dumpster right out in front of a Waymo on purpose. Just as like, I'm gonna screw with this car, stupid
Yeah,
autonomous
there's
cars.
some people.
So it's like, okay, well, even a sighted driver, if you throw a garbage can out in front of me and I'm, 5 feet away from it, I'm probably going to hit it, even if I slam on my brakes, even if I'm a sighted human. So it's like, okay, it's not fair to just penalize these autonomous cars for every single little incident that happens. Even sighted humans make mistakes sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while we are on this topic, I'll tell you guys a joke. Gino mentioned earlier about, driving around the parking lot finding a spot or something like that. It made me think of this joke. So this guy, he's running late for his job interview. So he's coming to the parking lot and all the spaces are taken. And he's driving, frantically trying to find. He goes, God, please, 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 can I get a parking space? I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to start going to church. I'm going to be so good. I'm going to go on a good diet. I'm going to eat healthy. Please, please, just give me the parking place. And then finally, one parking place opens up in front of him. He goes, oh, never mind. I got one right here.
Oh, man. Oh. Well, remember, Mr. Person in the joke, the devil's in the details. You better be careful. You better be careful, friend.
Never mind. I got one right here. So there's no
Yeah, completely disregarding the divine. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we are almost out of time. So, Becca,
so can I wrap it up?
Yeah, if you'd like to do your wrap.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today for this exciting episode of The Blind View featuring Brandon, Anya, and myself, and Gino as well. Please be sure you are subscribed to us here on Rumble. And you can email us at beccameadows76@gmail.com if you want to give us any feedback. Thank you so much. Peace out, y'all. That's a wrap. Bye.
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 Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.